The story of creation. God creates the world. Genesis 1. In the distant ancient times before the beginning of time, our world was chaotic, dark, and desolate. It was then that the gods started creating order and beauty. First, God commanded light to pierce through the darkness. As a result, light was created. Then God commanded the turbulent sea to recede and dry land emerged. However, apart from the sound of the waves and the howling wind, the ground was empty and still. God instructed the earth to produce trees and plants. The earliest green leaves and flowers that sprouted looked incredibly beautiful. Subsequently, in the vast expanse he had created, God commanded the sun to shine during the day and the moon to emit a softer light at night. God also created the stars, which twinkled in the gentle and serene darkness. The sky and the ocean remained desolate and empty. God then created living beings, tiny fish and the largest whales, to swim and play in the vast expanse of the sea. God also created birds, allowing them to flit through the trees while singing melodiously. It was a beautiful world, and God saw how wonderful it was. However, the land remained barren. God then created various animals, including fuzzy creatures and powerful giants. These animals brought vitality to the forests, groves, fields, and plains created by God. God commanded that fish, birds, and other animals should procreate and multiply. As a result, the entire world would be filled with life, bustling with activity, and each living being would find its place. God looked upon all that he had created and said, "It is excellent." So God created human beings. Genesis chapters 1 and 2. God looked with pleasure at the vast and boundless universe and the beautiful world that had already been created. However, God knew that there was still the most outstanding part of creation that needed to be completed. "Now I will create life," God said. "They will have minds, the ability to think, understand, and love me. I will also entrust them with the responsibility of managing this world and ensuring everything runs smoothly." First, God created a man named Adam. However, despite having numerous animals to care for and play with, Adam still felt lonely. God then created a woman named Eve to be his wife. This way they could work together, chat, and enjoy each other's company. God blessed both of them and taught them to enjoy everything in the world created by God. They would have children who would assist them in fulfilling the tasks assigned by God. Although they would have dominion over the world, they must always submit to God. God loves them and knows what is best for them. As long as they act according to God's will, they will be happy. God provided Adam and Eve with a beautiful garden where they could live. The trees were laden with ripe fruits which they could enjoy. "Just pick any fruit you like," God said to them. "But do not eat from the tree in the middle of the garden, for it is the tree of knowledge of good and evil. If you eat from that tree, you will surely die." God brought all the animals and birds before Adam so that he could give them names. Adam and Eve talked to the animals and played with them. They followed the instructions given by Adam and Eve and behaved accordingly. Adam and Eve were tasked by God with tending to the garden. They meticulously cared for all the plants and trees. Every evening when the weather cools down, God would come and speak with them. They would stroll around sharing everything that had happened until nightfall marked the end of another perfect day. The fruit of temptation created and subsequently destroyed. Genesis chapter 3. Nothing can disrupt the happiness of Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. Or so it seems. However, there is someone who is plotting to destroy everything created by the divine. This entity is Satan, the adversary of God, who harbors a deep hatred for all that is beautiful and lovely. One day, the most cunning snake among all the creatures in the garden chattered to Eve. "Did God really tell you that you are not allowed to eat any of the fruit that grows on these lovely trees?" "Of course not," Eve replied. "Apart from that tree over there, we can eat any fruit we want. God has forbidden us from eating from that tree. If we do, we will surely die." "That's not true," the serpent hissed softly. "God knows that if you eat that fruit, you will become as intelligent and cunning as he is. That's why he forbade you from doing so." Eve gazed at the luscious fruits hanging abundantly from the forbidden tree, marveling at their beauty. She imagined how delightful and delicious they must be. Then she thought about how amazing it would be to become as intelligent as the snake had promised. With this newfound resolve, she quickly picked a tempting fruit, took a bite, and handed it to Adam, urging him to taste it as well. However, instead of feeling that they had become clever and resourceful, both of them found themselves feeling rather embarrassed. They had defied the wise and benevolent deity, their creator and friend. As dusk approached, they did not rush to meet with God. They felt extremely ashamed because they had disobeyed God. They picked some large leaves and tried to cover themselves with them. then stealthily made their way into the dense undergrowth. Previously, every evening, they eagerly anticipated the loving greeting from God. Now, however, they are afraid to hear God's familiar voice. Finally, they did hear God's call. "Where are you, Adam?" cried God. With drooping eyes, they crawled out to meet the God they no longer wanted to see.